Union. Welcome, my name is Consolata Chibalonza. Now, several students from Kenyatta University are feared dead after their bus was involved in an accident on Monday, March 18th. The accident involving the university bus and a trailer was reported in Maungu, Voi, Taita Taveta County, resulting in the death and injuries of several students. Preliminarily, information indicates that the school bus was carrying public health students heading back to Nairobi from Mombasa, where they went for an academic trip. Now, from the photos circulating online, the university bus appeared to be hit from the back by the loaded trailer, which mostly affected the students sitting in the rear seats. Some of the students were seen motionless on the ground as eyewitnesses attempted to rescue the injured body before police arrived. Police and an emergency response team from the county arrived at the scene to assess the situation, offer emergency care to the injured, and ferry the bodies to the local mortuaries. Additionally, seats from the bus and other materials belonging to the students were scattered on the ground as it continued raining. The accident resulted in traffic buildup as motorists stopped to stare in shock at the horrific accident scene. Police were, however, quick to guide the motorists to avoid a traffic snarl-up. More of this shall be given tomorrow. We do send our heartfelt condolences to the family of those who lost their loved ones in such a grisly accident. Now, moving on, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha on Monday said her ministry will begin posting medical interns on April 1st, 2024, after a meeting with representatives from the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists, Dentists Union. Posting of the student medics has been the bone of contention between the Doctors Union and the Health Ministry, leading to a health workers' strike that began last week and entered its 5th day on Monday. The health minister said they had reached an agreement with KMPDU and that the National Treasury had given the green light on the matter.
I'm happy to report that as a ministry we have made very good progress, and one of the issues was on the internship program. So we have agreed that they are going to participate in the review of the internship policy that is currently ongoing, chaired by the DG, Director General, that they are going to participate fully so that then we review that internship policy, we ensure that it is aligned to universal health coverage and it addresses all the emerging issues that we have had. But most importantly, we have also briefed the union and agreed that we have now received a confirmation from Treasury, and beginning 1st of April, which is in 2 weeks' time, we are going to begin posting of all the interns. The other matter that we have discussed and reached an agreement is on the CBA, collective bargaining agreement, that lapsed. So we have agreed that the ministry will proceed with the negotiations, because the status as it is that they had written to the ministry and the ministry had written back to them with a counter offer. But both parties were yet to sit at the table, so we have agreed that within this week, the ministry then calls for a meeting so that then matters that are in the CBA can be addressed and negotiations begin. We have also discussed and agreed on the arrears pending for registrars, that the Principal Secretary in charge of medical services, Mr. Kimtai, is going to take lead and have a discussion with the universities so that a reconciliation is done of all the outstanding arrears. And equally, we have received commitment from Treasury on availability of resources. So once that reconciliation has been done, the Principal Secretary is going to ensure that all the outstanding arrears are paid.
We were in a conversation, a consultative discussion, and there is no any agreement that is there between us and the ministry on the internship policy, because we have not been told the problem with the current policy. So it is very difficult to have a...
Now, as you had seen there, doctors have maintained that their strike, which started on Thursday last week, is still on until all their demands are met. Speaking moments after holding a meeting with the Ministry of Health, the doctors acknowledged that even though the ministry had shown goodwill and commitment to ensure the issues were resolved, they wouldn't call off the strike, despite promises by the ministry to solve some of the issues falling within its mandate. Now, Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union Secretary General Davji Atela claimed the union has in the past held meetings with the government, but the commitments arrived at had never been implemented.
No, we were in a conversation, a consultative discussion, and there is no any agreement that is there between us and the ministry on the industry policy, because we have not been told the problem with the current policy. So it is very difficult to have a conversation on a new policy when we do not know what is the problem with the current policy. And therefore, we have not even seen any document that showing that is a draft of the new policy. So we believe that interns that need to be posted should be pegged on the collective bargaining agreement, which is a court order, and the current policy that's in existence. Because we have also heard that there is a lot of discussion, there's a promise and conversation that there was a plan to reduce the salaries of interns, there's a plan to reduce the salary of doctors. And this is something we can't allow. And that's part of the reason why we are on this particular strike, because we want to protect the salary gains we got in 2017, the salary gains we got in 2011. Otherwise, if we don't protect them, then we know very well that the government are looking for mechanisms to actually reduce this. Because we've seen that happening with SRC, when last year they actually brought a proposal to remove our non-practice allowance. Probably these are the same review policies that want to be reviewed, which will take the intern salaries downwards. We can't accept that, and we can't discuss that. We have fully complied to the court order, and the court gave 6 orders, and I think it's very important that you read them. The 6th order told us to suspend the strike, pegged on the institution of a one nation approach. That order number 542 came before number 6. So we must have that meeting, agree on the issues that we have raised, have a return to work formula that suspends the strike. That's how the court gave that order, and the judge was very wise to put it as the last order. So we are not in contempt of any particular court orders. And again, I must say that if we don't have that one nation approach on the issues, it is us as a union who will take the government for contempt. Initially, we as a union gave a minimal services to be undertaken to some facilities, and that probably we're just doing outpatients. But if you can go visit the hospital wards, then you will understand what we are saying, and you will see the ramification of this. Again, when you see anybody in the hospital putting a white coat, not everybody who put on a white coat is a doctor. You can even see people with white coats in the butchery, delivering meats in the hospitals. Yeah. And again, for the administrators, they are politicians. We do not do public relations with people's health. Yes. When a doctor is there.
Now, Interior National Administration Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has directed security agencies in Kericho County to arrest organizers and financiers of the violence witnessed during a public event attended by the President William Ruto in Belgut, Kericho County. The minister also instructed the police to monitor cases of unrest at political rallies, complete investigations and arrest organizers, financiers and perpetrators of thuggery in the county, regardless of their political or social status.
We have noticed with concern an increasing tendency of intolerance among political leaders, and we are asking political leaders to conduct their politics within the law, and they must maintain the peace in their political meetings. No person is allowed to disrupt public meetings, to use guns, to mete out violence and harass members of the public. I have left very firm and clear directives on the Trans Nzoia County Security Committee to be firm, ruthless and merciless on all people who sponsor, finance, encourage, support, aid and abet goons and political thugs who go to disrupt meetings organized by people of a different viewpoint, and it doesn't matter whether the organizers and sponsors are pro or anti-government. We will crush them equally, and nobody is above the law. I repeat, for the avoidance of doubts, nobody is above the law. And this hooliganism and disruption has taken a life of itself, not just here in Trans Nzoia, You saw last week the kind of activities that were taking place in presidential meetings in Kericho and Bomet. We made it clear that that will not be countenanced. So we are not, as we are not part of the political discussions, our work is to secure the nation and make sure that everybody follows the law, and people who transact their political businesses, economic businesses, do so peacefully.
Now, President William Ruto led other leaders in mourning the late mother of former Narok Governor Samuel Tunai, Mama Anna Tikui Nulparakuo Tunai. At the event, President Ruto prioritized the recently passed affordable housing bill, stating that it will facilitate the government's plan for citizens. In the health sector, the president said that the new Health Insurance Act will help every citizen access healthcare services without financial constraints, with the government bearing the cost nationwide to address issues such as hospital bills and food sufficiency. A funeral service was held in Lolgorian, Narok, attended by leaders including Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and Narok Senator Ledama Olekina.
There is still a lot of wastage in government, and we must deal with it. There are still many corporations, many government agencies that are not spending money as appropriately as they should. And in this year's budget, we're going to be very keen, and I want to ask members of parliament to work with us so that where we don't need money, where institutions can support their own budgets, we don't give them additional resources, but we make sure that we deploy every coin in Kenya appropriately and make sure that we are accountable in making sure that the resources of Kenya are spent properly. Na kwa sababu mama wetu Ana amekuwa mgonjwa miaka nyingi, niliketi chini na Tunai akaniambia ile mamilioni imetumika kwa hii family. Sio familia nyingi wako na uwezo ya kuweza kudhibiti mambo ya gharama ya hospitali, na ndio sababu tumebadilisha sheria Kenya kuhakikisha ya kwamba kila Mkenya apate nafasi ya matibabu katika taifa letu la Kenya bila kujali uwezo wao wa kifedha. Every citizen must have access to medical care and to health facilities without taking into consideration their financial ability. Na ndio sababu tumepatisha sheria, na mimi nimekubali kwamba hata kama mambo ya matibabu ni kazi ya counties, serikali kuu tutatoa pesa 30% of all equipment we are going to pay as national government so that we can support counties.
Public officials who own or operate bars have been ordered to close them or resign. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki said on Monday that conflicts of interest are the main obstacle to implementing policies to eliminate illegal alcohol and drugs. He referred to a memo issued on March 13th by Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo to regional commissioners, county commissioners, department heads, and all internal security and national administration staff regarding this directive.
All public officers who are involved in any business connected with alcohol, they must stop and close that business, or alternatively they leave service. Even if the premises is licensed, even if the premises sells legitimate products, an officer who is a law enforcement officer getting involved in law enforcement in an industry where they have business interest creates a conflict of interest, and therefore the one must.
Now, police at the Isebania border post between Kenya and Tanzania in Migori County seized marijuana worth 9 million Kenyan shillings intended for smuggling into the country. According to Migori County Police Commander Francis Nguli, the marijuana was being transported in a Toyota Land Cruiser Prado SUV with registration number KCL 532E. before being intercepted by police officers. Two suspects identified as Daniel Okoth and Eric Ombima were arrested while in the country, passing through the Nyametaburu Road and connecting to the Isebania Migori Road in the Mabera area, Migori. Approximately 300 kilograms of marijuana were found inside the vehicle. When they reached the Karamu Bridge, the police surprised them. Indeed, kudos to our police officers. Now, in Bomet County and its environs, there is growing concern about the increase in cases of donkey theft and the slaughtering of their meat in the county, despite the government's ban on donkey slaughter within the country. Our residents and farmers in these areas complain about the proliferation of donkey meat in Bomet and the loss of many donkeys due to the theft. The trade in donkey meat and donkey sales has spread fear, with farmers calling on the central government to intervene to stop the slaughter, citing their donkeys as essential tools for transportation in those areas.
Hii punda itaenda kuisha kwa sababu kuna wale watu wanauza ama saa zingine wanaipa na wanapeleka hizi punda, si ati wanauza kama wanauzia wakulima wengine, lakini hizi punda wanapeleka wanauza alafu wachinje. Na unajua kwa serikali ilikuwa 2016 tukapeleka petition mpaka hizi vichinjio zikafungwa, lakini juzi tumesikia hii mambo ya nini chinjaji wa punda inaendelea, na tumejaribu kutafuta kabisa hii mambo inaendelea, wanachinja kwa msituni alafu hizi ngozi wanapeleka huko ng'ambo kwa China.
Katika statistics ambayo imefanyika na KALRO 2019 walisema idadi ya punda Kenya ni 1,200,000, lakini kwa sasa kulingana na vile punda wameanza kuchinjwa, tunahofia kwamba nambari ile imeanza kupungua.
Donkey trade in Kenya was banned 3 years ago, in fact 4 years now, because of reasons which the government found that the trade of the donkey in Kenya was not sustainable because of donkey population imekuja chini. Sasa tunasema kwamba tumeweka program ya kuhakikisha kwamba this illegal trade stops.
Now, digital publishers and the general public have every reason to smile after President William Samoei Ruto met with content analysts of social media pages, managers and top executives, as well as owners of Facebook and Instagram pages, as Meta entered into an agreement for these publishers and Kenyans to benefit financially from their publication starting June this year. Speaking today, President Ruto said that it will be beneficial for citizens through social media networks to provide them with the money for everything they do on these platforms.
By June, all our creators will now have an opportunity to really monetize everything that they do in that space, put ads, make sure they can access Instagram, commerce around it. And it speaks to our bottom-up economic transformation agenda on making sure that we give everybody a chance right from the bottom. And I am very happy that this is moving in the right direction. I want to encourage Meta Group. If we can do it before June, somewhere in the middle here, it would be a very welcome surprise to many of these.
So whether it's human capital, and digital literacy and digital training, we will continue to lean into that. Whether it is facing these major infrastructure challenges around the world, or whether it is sharing the fruits of the immense creative and productive benefits that will be brought about by this generative AI revolution that we're going through at the moment.
We've poured our hearts and soul into creating content with hopes that one day we will achieve and increase financial rewards. This is a day that our passions will translate into sustainable income. Furthermore, the creative industry has employed a lot of youths. Enabling this industry has a lot of benefits and contributes positively to the GDP also, because we create content that is consumed both locally and internationally.
Now, the Special Needs Teachers Union, KUSNET, is urging the government through the Teacher Service Commission, TSC, to increase allowances and improve conditions in schools offering education to the disabled. COSNET Secretary General James Torome called on the government to push the National Assembly to allocate 5 billion Kenyan shillings to enable teachers to facilitate education in such schools nationwide. These teachers currently receive an allowance of 10,000 shillings per month, seeking an additional amount to reach 20,000 to achieve their goals, saying the current allocation is insufficient.
There is non-payment of special salary by Teacher Service Commission, and we are urging now the Teacher Service Commission. These allowances have stayed for over 10 years. So we want 2024-2025 financial year that allowance to be increased from 10,000 to 20,000. That's the voice of teachers of Kilifi and the country at large.
Hawa wabunge wetu tunawaomba kwamba wabunge katika nchi hii yetu ya Kenya wakaweze kuongea pale kwa kutetea swala hili la watoto walio na ulemavu, wakaweze kuona kwamba pesa zimeongezwa ili wale walimu wanapopewa nyongeza ya mshahara basi wataweza kuwashughulikia wale watoto vizuri. Pesa zinazotolewa ambayo ilikuwa 1 billion, hiyo haitoshi kwa sababu walimu wamekaa muda mrefu sana, wengine miaka 7, wengine miaka 10.
The Judicial Service Commission is set to interview the 7 shortlisted candidates for the position of the Office of the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary to replace Ann Amadi. Masharia Rose Washuka, Ouma Jack Busalile, Mwimali, Mokaya Frida Boyani, Wambeti Ann Ireri, Ndemo Paul Maina, Kendagor Caroline Jepiegen, and Kandet Kennedy Lenkamai will face a panel of interviewees from JSC at diverse times from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. On October 23, 2023, the Commission posted a notice of vacancy of the position of Chief Registrar of the Judiciary. The Judicial Commission reported that it received up to 43 applications, but only the 7 candidates were shortlisted. The candidates are also expected to go through the process of vetting through background checks before they are selected for the position, in line with Chapter 6 of the Constitution on Leadership and Integrity and the Judicial Service Act of 2011. Machakos Deputy Governor Francis Mwangangi has called on President William Ruto to intervene and address challenges facing the healthcare sector. Speaking at the ABC Kalimantani area in Kangundo, Mwangangi accused Health Minister Susan Nakhumicha of not only failing to fulfill her duties of solving doctors' problems, but also undermining President Ruto in fulfilling his responsibility to Kenyans.
Our government, which we respect, is not doing service to Kenyans when it comes to devolution. Church in Kenya stood with this administration. Sisi zote tunakumbuka Mheshimiwa Rais akienda kuomba kanisa mpaka askari wanatupa tear gas kwa kanisa. Lakini kanisa Kenya ikasimama na hii serikali. What has happened? Tunaambiwa madaktari wamestrike and it is going days, weeks. Na inaendelea na waziri ako ofisi. Hata hatujawasikia yeye amekutana na madaktari kuzungumza haya mambo. I think I agree, it is high time President of the Republic of Kenya, wakati umefika aingilie haya maneno ya afya. Otherwise, the state of health in this country is going to deteriorate, is going to collapse, and that is not what we want. We do not want Kenyans to be exploited in private healthcare facilities. We have public health care in this country. So, Rais wetu tafadhali, wakati umefika. Wewe mwenyewe ni wewe, watu walikuchagua. Si hawa watu wengine wanasimamia afya ambao hawakai kama wanaelewa jinsi wa Kenya wanahangaika.
Embu County Deputy Governor Kinyo Mugo has urged farmers in the county to be patient as the national government, in collaboration with the county government, strives to ensure subsidized fertilizer is available starting next week. Speaking at an agricultural show, Mugo urged farmers to continue preparing their farms for planting. Meanwhile, farmers were assured that the government would deal decisively with unscrupulous seed vendors causing losses to farmers.
Kuna maswali ambao wakulima pia wanauliza maneno ya fertilizer, na nimewahakikishia nikawaambia sisi tunazungumza pia na headquarter, hata rais mwenyewe tumekuwa tukizungumza na yeye na tumehakikishiwa ile fertilizer wiki ijayo, kabla wiki mbili hazijapita, fertilizer itakuwa imefika hapa. Kumekuwa na changamoto kama vile umejua kuna vita kule pande ya Israel, kwa hivyo ile Red Sea, Suez Canal, ile inaitwa Suez Canal kitambo imefungwa kwa sababu ya hatari ya vita ambayo iko huko. So meli zote kutoka Europe inazunguka kupitia South Africa. Sasa hapo ndio imechukua muda kidogo, lakini tumehakikishiwa wiki ijayo fertilizer itakuwa imefika ya kutosha. Kwa hivyo mimi naambia wakulima waendelee kutayarisha mashamba yao na wasikavujike mwa hata kidogo, wasikaseme imechelewa. Na kama mtu akona namna nyingine anaendelea mbele, kama sasa ilikuwa imefika 2000 kwa ile store, kuliko na stock kidogo. Lakini 2000 hapa hebu ni kidogo sana hiyo. Kwa hivyo wakulima waendelee tu kungojea kwa muda kidogo, tutakuwa tuko sawa sawa.
And we're able to explain even to the farmers what they need to look out for, especially hii maneno ya fixed, that tumewaambia kwamba we are with them kuwakinga, na pia tunasaidiana na serikali kuu ya Kenya kuweza ku make sure kwamba farmers will get the rightful quality certified seed ambayo itawasaidia na itamea katika mashamba yao. So kwa leo sisi tumekuwa watu wamefurahi sana, because as the show grows, even we know that we are able to teach more students, we are able to get more farmers to be aware, wary of bad seeds, also wary about bad practices ambazo zinaweza kufanyika katika mashamba zao.
Na vile mnavyojua rose coco tunatumia sana kwa maneno ya githeri, lakini leo tumetoa na tumeuza kwa wingi sana kazuri maragwe inajulikana sana kwa uzuri wake, inaweza kuwa na tolerance ya anthracnose disease.
And with that, we bring a close to today's edition of Prime News. In case you found us along the way, here is what you might have missed. Several Kenyatta University students lose their lives in a grisly accident along Mombasa Highway. The doctor's strike is still on amidst long talks between the ministry and the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union. Suspects of marijuana arrested at the Isebania border trying to smuggle in the illegal substance. Now, some development on the first story about the Kenyatta University bus which collided with a trailer. It has been reported or confirmed that 11 students have lost their lives due to the tragedy. Indeed, our hearts go with the family and friends and the entire fraternity of Kenyatta University. I do wish you a good night. My name is Consolata Chibalonza, and until next time, God bless.